What's going on, guys? This is Ryan from BSing Sports. I'm here by myself, kind of covering for the fact that Bill was just on here by himself a little bit ago. He was doing a Phillies recap, and as you can see by the background, we are going to talk a little bit of Flyers here right now. Very disappointing, to say the least. I speak for the entire fan base when I say that the Flyers had an opportunity to win over the hearts, minds, and fans after a very disappointing season, and they completely dropped the ball. Johnny Gaudreau, big name out here. Everybody was talking it. He's from, the area. He's from the New Jersey area. So, and he basically came out and said that he wanted to come home. He denied quite a luxurious offer from Calgary to re-sign there. He denied a fantastic offer, reportedly 7 years, $10.2 million per season to signed with the New Jersey Devils. Essentially, what he was saying was Philly or bust, and Philly didn't even flinch at it. Chuck Fletcher didn't even flinch at it. It was stated earlier in his presser around 5 o'clock Eastern time that Chuck Fletcher said they are done in free agency. I'm hoping that is a cover, that's not true. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody believes that it's actually not true. This is just an unfortunate circumstance. Johnny Gaudreau would have been a fantastic fit, hometown player, would have really, not only sold tickets, but given people a reason to come watch the Flyers. He's an electric player. He's a great scorer, great setter up of the puck. And all it would have really costed was moving James Van Riemsdyk, who, may be a decent middle six forward on the right team, but moving James Van Riemsdyk in his $7 million contract for this season upcoming, the last year of his luxurious contract that he signed quite a few off seasons ago. And then, a first-round pick as a sweetener. And to be honest with you, the Flyers aren't, excellent drafters. So it probably wouldn't have hurt them too much anyway, considering they gained extra capital in the Claude Giroux trade. It's just not a great look for the Flyers. They didn't do anything worthwhile. A team that fell flat on their face, last season when they had such high expectations after signing Ryan Ellis, after trading for Rasmus Ristolainen. The ability to offload a James Van Riemsdyk contract. A contract that your entire fan base had been, begging for you to offload anyway, and a first-round pick, that's nothing. And then you put Ellis on long-term IR, you manipulate the cap right there, that's $10 million. That's easy for Johnny Gaudreau. He probably would have taken that easy, considering the offers that he denied, basically stating that he wanted to come here. So the Flyers very graciously whiffed in free agency. They get an F minus. It was a terrible free agency for the Philadelphia Flyers. They made a couple of other minor signings, but I think, Chuck Fletcher trying to, rally after not signing Johnny Gaudreau. He said, oh, well, they still have a team that can compete. He's hoping for a stabilizing year is what he called it. He said Sean Couturier, Travis Konechny are going to come back healthy. And you know what? They can have everybody come back healthy this offseason. As William just said, let's go ahead and put that up. What's up, Bill? Complete contrast to last year's offseason. If that is not the truth, I don't know what is. It's almost like Chuck Fletcher regrets what happened last offseason, and he's afraid to take chances again. This is a slam dunk, though. This is something that has to be done. I mean, I can't sit here and repeat myself enough on live. The internet saying like this is terrible. This is just awful. I can't believe that Chuck Fletcher. This is a layup, right? This is a fast break layup. This is a positional player throwing a 65-mile-an-hour pitch down the middle. This is whatever easy metaphor having to do with sports you want me to use. That's what this is, and it is frustrating as a Flyers fan. I posted on Twitter that this was a slam dunk, and that Chuck Fletcher didn't even flinch at it. I've been watching the Flyers since Eric Desjardins and Keith Primeau were the captains. This is easily the worst state that I've ever seen this team in. Easily. And that's, from the early 2000s. I can very, very vaguely remember the 2002 Eastern Conference Final game against the Penguins, the 5 overtime game. I've been watching this team for a long time. I've been rooting for Philadelphia sports. I have my Phillies banner in the back. I have my Eagles shirt on. I would have put my Flyers hat on if it was a good day, but it is not a good day. It's not a good day for Flyers fans. It's not a good day for fans anywhere in the Philadelphia area. This is a huge whiff for this team. Now, branching out from the Flyers, I'm done crapping all over them. The Carolina Hurricanes have had an outstanding offseason. They lost Vinny Trocheck and Tony DeAngelo, which are big losses. Tony DeAngelo, as we know, went to the Flyers. He's a very good offensive defenseman, and he has reported that by Chuck Fletcher that he's going to be on the first pair, which makes sense as long as Ryan Ellis is not healthy. And that says, that speaks volumes right there that Ryan Ellis is not healthy and that he will for sure not start the season on the roster. But so the Carolina Hurricanes lose Tony DeAngelo. They lose Vinny Trocheck, who's their third line center, and he was playing absolutely fantastic two-way hockey. That's kind of a hard person to replace, and it's, it is what it is. But they go ahead and they go and trade for Brett Burns. They take on that whole contract, so they gain assets with it. And as well as they just traded for Max Pacioretty about an hour ago. So they've taken on some great contracts, some massive contracts in exchange for the talent that these players provide. And that's, that's how you build a franchise. That's how you continue to get better. Yes, you lose pieces, but you can easily replace these pieces. We just forcing ourselves onto my show now, huh?
I'm not forcing anything. I just wanted to comment on the Flyers, and I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead. I was only going to do 10 minutes anyway. The Phillies are about to start.
Oh, I know. I just wanted to comment on the Flyers. I'm 100% with you. For anybody who's been watching the NHL free agency, I mean, I get the updates on ESPN all the time. I just kept waiting for them to do something, anything, right? Like as a Flyers fan, you're just waiting for like the good news to finally erupt, and it just never happened. And as you already pointed out, it's just like an embarrassment for the organization. The way they let Drew walk last year, it's all culminating into just one of the absolute worst seasons, followed by off seasons that I also remember, and I've been watching since the early 90s. So yeah, just to your point, I agree. The Goudreau thing, it's just a flat out mind boggler.
There's not too much that I can say on it, in all honesty, outside of the fact that it's an embarrassment. I mean, Johnny Gaudreau basically begged to be here and nothing. That's. Yeah. I can't, I'm stuttering over my words. I'm at a loss of words at this point. This is something that could have easily been done. And then Curtis Lazar, grew up rooting for the Canucks, and he just signed with the Canucks in offseason. So, that could have been the Flyers had they not been, had Chuck Fletcher not been screwing off.
Drew just went back to Ottawa.
Yeah. Good for Claude Giroux. You know what? It's unfortunate because he probably won't win a cup in Ottawa, and I feel like he deserves it. However, dude wants to go home. He's from Ottawa. This was predicted kind of during the trade deadline that he might get traded to Ottawa. Glad he didn't. Glad he at least got a shot to play in the playoffs again and show what he can do. And in fact, he did pretty well in the playoffs. But good for the captain. One day he'll come back. 28 will hang in the rafters. But other than that, All
right, buddy. I got my 2-piece in. I'm going to let you finish out your thing here, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
You too.
So anyway, back to myself, I guess it is. And you know what, to touch on more positive note, I guess more positive kind of, being skewed here. The Phillies, got Zach Wheeler going tonight. In Toronto, I kind of predict a win. You pay Zach Wheeler a lot of money to win games where the offense isn't going to show up, and you can kind of anticipate that the offense won't show up, with some key hitters out tonight and some other key hitters struggling. So go ahead and chalk me up for a Phillies 3-2 win tonight. That's just a light prediction for tonight. Outside of that, I really just wanted to come on here, give the opinion of how the Flyers are looking right now. If anybody could go ahead and boycott Comcast. We don't buy Flyers tickets. We don't buy Flyers merchandise. We don't even buy Flyers or buy Comcast in general. Avoid the whole TV station altogether. That'd be fantastic because this team needs to go in a very different direction, starting at the very top. You can only blame Chuck Fletcher so much for this when this has been going on since before Chuck Fletcher got here. So, and that's my 2 cents on that. Chuck Fletcher has a lot to do with it, but Comcast needs to go ahead and sell this team. Ed Snyder's rolling over. This is embarrassing. Did not think I'd ever see a massive, organization like the Flyers in such disarray the way that they are right now. But that being said, my 10 minutes are up. The Phillies are about to be on. Go ahead, go Phils. Thank you for joining me